first bit of information about using social media as a writer at this conference. I have hundreds of links coming off of this, people who link to this, just because I hit it right, and it changed my life.
Shakespeare, the hardest working poet in the Elizabethan era, Shakespeare wrote, "A lover's eye will gaze an eagle blind."
We try to have a balance of speakers who can address the craft of writing and also speakers who can talk about the business of writing. Because getting your work down on paper or on computer is one thing, but then what do you do with it?
They're all different, and you never know when this part's going to be updated or when this part's going to be updated.
I think writers' conferences are invaluable to writers. I do know people that have written novels and never been to one, but I think it's rare.
Throughout the day there are 25 sessions that are offered, and it is a balance of craft and business.
If I describe a character to you and make a point of how much makeup she wears, that is telling you a lot about that individual. Those are clues to personality.
Long before your book gets to a reader, though, it's got to get to an editor. And the editor has to respond to that beginning.
I know you've all heard that every writer must have his own individual voice. I'm telling you now that every character, they all have to have their own individual voice.
The Beta Writers Conference is a function of the Eastern Shore Writers Association. So the mission of the conference is really an educational opportunity for people to learn more about the craft of writing, to learn something, a very specific skill perhaps, or for new writers to learn something very general, but for everyone who attends the conference to leave that day with something they didn't have when they got here.
And by the time they're ready to leave in the afternoon, they are motivated and excited and inspired. And that is just an absolute priceless feeling for a writer to have.
Instead of commitment and instead of discipline, I've discovered it's inspiration that really ignites the writer's voice and that genuine part that is your voice and no one else's.
People come to the conference with expectations, and our goal is for them to leave with as many of those expectations filled as possible.
I really enjoy it. Yeah, I've been to 3. This is my 3rd conference of just any type of conference that I've been to, and this has been the most interesting to me.
I just love the conference. I always love, I'm always learning new things every time I'm here. I get to meet some interesting people too from all different backgrounds, you know.
And this being my first conference, I think it's a great place to start.
It's excellent, and just the different marketing tools that are available to authors who are published as well as just getting into the whole literary process. So I'm having a good time, and it's great, and I'll be back next year.
Take a class, come to a writer's workshop, come to a conference.
This conference was very key to my success, and just one thing I learned. You know, if you come and you just learn one thing, you're better off than if you didn't come. And that's the way I always looked at it. I mean, I've been writing for a long time, but if I can learn one thing or 2 things, then I'm happy, and I always can here.